Okay, guys. Do you guys have any questions about what we did last week? The stuff that we covered last week. Did y'all use it? It's kind of a rhetorical question. I pretty much know the answer. Did you look at it? No?
Not yet.
Okay. Use that stuff, guys. You know, I keep telling you this, and you know, unless you use it, you're gonna lose it. You know, because you're just gonna forget, you know, how to do it. So use that stuff during the week. You know, when I tell you to use it. Okay, this week we're going to talk about form fields. All right, and in hyperkeys, that's the small e, and that's to fill in the blank, and the large E is to add or modify a form field. Okay, do you guys know what a form field is?
No.
It's the highlighted blank that you put the information in. So that's going to be like the cause number, style of the case, the type of hearing that you're having, the date, attorneys, all of that stuff. Okay? So we'll be talking about that this week.
Let's see how Total Eclipse form fields make it easy to fill in the blanks for information that changes from transcript to transcript. Transcript to transcript. There are several ways to begin filling in the blanks. You can click on a toolbar menu, or go to the production menu, or use speed key Control E, or hyperkey E.
Did y'all get that? So if you just want to do it and you're in regular insert mode, it's Control E, okay? Or just E in hyperkeys. Not Shift E, just E, okay?
In this blank, I'll type in a number, and pressing Enter is OK. Blanks can be set to automatically adjust their size to accommodate your text, and to delete the entire line thereon if you leave the blank empty. So the line that was here was automatically deleted. Blanks can also be set to completely capitalize whatever text gets placed in them, and to look in a list file to give you choices. This blank knows how I filled in the witness's name in other spots in my transcript, and it's prompting me in case that information has changed, but I'll just press OK.
You get what they're saying there? Like once you put the witness's name, it's going to remember that you used that on the witness's name. So more than likely when you're doing the deposition or something like that, it's going to know. So every time that it asks for the witness name, it's going to automatically come up in that little box.
In case that information...
In this little box, in the fill in the blank box right here. Okay? So it's going to automatically give you whatever you put in there. Fido Doe. Cat I went to school with. So if you do, then you just press OK. But if not, then it gives you a prompt right here, and then you just fill in the blank. Okay? Or delete the name that's in it and fill in the blank.
Has changed, but I'll just press OK. And finally, form fields can make it quick and easy to insert client information. Within these short presentations, it's not possible to show all that form fields can do. So a separate in-depth e-Power video tutorial is available on form fields and automatic indexing.
Kind of important to go in and look at that, guys, because it's going to tell you a lot of different things about the form fields, you know, setting up your stuff, your fill-in blanks and stuff like that. The boxes that you have for your different hearings and stuff like that. So, you know, it's kind of important to, so if you can, go back, and there's a little, right here on this website, go to the internet and look that up on the form fields. Okay? Okay, also in this, you have block files. you know, which are like discussions off the record, lunch, recess, jury goes out, off the record discussions, your title pages, certificate pages, appearance pages, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to give you mine when it comes time to do it. You know, when we're kind of messing around with the other stuff, and you bring your machines and stuff like that. I'm going to bring, you know, a little Bluetooth, or, a little thumb drive that has all of my block files on it. So you're going to be able to read them onto your computer or whatever. And then the ones that you want, you can keep. The ones that you want to modify, you can modify, you know, whatever. So you can always go in there and modify whatever you want. So okay. So what they were talking about in this thing is that everything that's in here, this is called a form field. That's what this thing is called. So every time you have like this blue little thing, what that means is that's a form field, and that's a field that needs to be filled in with something, either the date, witness's name, type of hearing, you know, you have, any of that stuff, and you get in there through the hyperkey E or Control E. Okay? So also on this thing is you just, if you want to go through and just keep, you know, filling in all the form fields, all you have to do is press E in hyperkeys, and it just goes to every one. You fill it out, push enter, and it'll go to the next one, next one, next one. So a lot of times, you know, if you have this thing on the multi, on that multi too, you know, it'll just keep going to the next one until you fill them all out, and then, you know, you can go back to the top of the document. Okay? Anyway, hyperkey T stops on a blank form field since it's a trouble spot. Okay? It doesn't stop on form fields that have already been filled. So if it's already been filled, it's not gonna go in there again. Okay? But you can go in there by doing the hyperkey E. You can go back in there. You know, you kind of put your prompt up before, push E, and then it'll go into the next form field. All right? So if you need to change something, you're not locked into that. You can always change it, so it's no big deal. Okay, you can use lock spaces in these form fields to make sure that if you want to keep something together, you can keep it together. Okay. You know, text which is typed into adjustable form fields can exceed a single line. So to force two words to keep together on the same line, even after word wrapping, you can use the shift. You can use the tilde, which is a shift little tilde or whatever, to insert, you know, a space. So, you know, you don't want it to read like this: 507 Main Street, Suite, you know, and Houston up here and Texas down here. You want it all together. Houston, Texas, you know, here, 507 Main Street here. The name stays together. So you want to keep it uniform. You know what I'm saying? You don't want it to read, you know, crazy. So, and that's what the little tilde is going to do. It's going to keep it together. Okay? If you have the same information that's used in several places, variable fields can remember how they get filled. So that just goes back to the witness thing. You know, every time it says witness, you know, it's going to have, you know, it's going to put that same witness's name, and it's going to remember the witness's name. So all you have to do is just keep, you know, pressing OK every time that witness name comes up. A field can be set to fully capitalize and or write justify the information which is entered and or delete the line if empty. The entire line on which a self-deleting field is located will disappear if you press the enter key without typing any text. So what it's doing is, you know, and they have like a little exercise down here, and I'll kind of show you, but you know, if you don't type anything on the line and it gives you a prompt in that line and you just press enter, then it's going to delete that line. That's what it's saying. Y'all understand that? You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. What this is saying is, you know, if you don't want to fill in the field and it comes up to that field, it gives you a next or a back button. You know, and if you want to skip it, all you have to do is press next and it'll go to the next field. Or if you want to go back and fill in that field because you don't remember what the information was, but you had it earlier or whatever, then, you know, you can go to that information and then come back to it, is what it's saying there. Any questions about that? All right, other form fields use a list file to provide choices. Then it's just a matter of processing a number or the first letters of the choice that you want. When a list window opens, there's even an add button so you can add more choices to it. So if, you know, say for instance, we have all kinds of hearings. We have Chapter 262 hearings, trial on the merits, permanency hearings, placement review hearings, authorization to place hearings, progress report hearings. So, I mean, you have a whole bunch of different hearings, you know, motions to modify. So you have a whole bunch of different hearings. So you don't want to just, you know, put one in there, trial on the merits, because you're not going to hear a trial on the merits every time. It may be the majority of what you hear, but it's not going to be the one that you hear all the time. So you might as well put it in, you know, when you can, and just add it. And it has the add button on there. All right.
Let's see how AutoMagic works with form fields and the fill-in-the-blanks process. Blanks process. The choices offered in relation to form fields are perfect examples of how AutoMagic helps both new and long-time users of Eclipse. So when your cursor is resting on a form field, the treble scan would fill just that one field. That would be speed key control T or hyper key T. In contrast, you might want to fill in all blanks. That would be hyper key E or speed key control E. Many longtime users of...
You understand what it's telling you there? You understand?
I do.
You do? What's it saying?
It's saying that you can fill in the blanks, and when you go through your document, it's going to come up with what you had before. And as you use it, it's going to remember it and put it in like it was before.
Okay. Yeah, kind of. But what it's saying here is that the control T is going to fill in just that one blank. Okay? E is going to fill in that blank, and then it's going to go to everyone after that. Okay? So if you just want to fill in the one blank, then you use the T. Fill in that field. Fill in this field. Okay? Just that field. Or fill in all blanks. Okay? Y'all understand what it's saying there? Okay? Because if not, if you do E, which I do, I mean, and I'm just silly like that, and it just kind of keeps going to the next one. I don't use the T as much or whatever, and I should. But, I mean, it's just so, I mean, and I've just remembered it. E is just fill in a blank, fill in a field. you know, and I just haven't remembered T as much. But the E automatically takes you in there, but it's going to fill in, it's going to go to every field that you have, even if it's filled in already, okay? The T is just going to fill in that one field, okay?
So you can use E as a way of checking to be sure that you have the right information in the right
Yeah,
place.
you can. You can go to the top of the document, push E, and as long as everything is correct, you know, it's going to bring up the prompt, and it's going to have, you know, like, and I'll kind of show you one of mine. But, you know, like mine at the beginning, it says reporter's record, volume blank of blank. So like I'm working on one right now, it's 7 days of testimony. So, you know, I'm just on the 3rd day working on it right now. So I'm on volume 3 of 7. So that's how you do it when you have multi-days, okay? So that's kind of what, you know, these things are for. You know, it helps the fourth court or whoever is reading it to say, well, I mean, what volume is it? I know that it was taken May 30th or whatever, so, but I don't know what volume or which volume, you know, we're even talking about. That's why they have the field up there, okay? And it gives you certain volumes, gives you the cause number, style of the case, all of that stuff, okay? But that's how you do it.
Eclipse may not have been aware of the distinction between the ability to fill in just one blank and the ability to go through the documents, filling in all blanks. AutoMagic also makes it very easy to modify a field. So here, if I press 3, that would open the dialog where I can change the properties of this field. Maybe I want to give it a different name or use a different variable so that the information I could go through the documents, filling in all blanks. AutoMagic also makes it very easy to modify a field. So here, if I press 3, that would open the dialog where I can change.
Okay, and you can change all kinds of stuff in here. I mean, you can change the field size, you can change the font, you know, all kinds of different stuff. The field label, what you want it to read. You can, you know, if it's an adjustable, delete line if empty, capitalize contents, you know, any of that stuff. And you can even you know, browse for other stuff that it has in it. So you can kind of go through there and kind of get some different ideas or whatever. But that's what it looks like when you want to modify it. So you know, if I have it in there and it says witness, but you want it to say witness's name, you know, you can come up here and just change it to witness's name, because you're not going to know, I don't know what they're talking about with witness. And that's just an example. But, you know, I wanted to read trial on the merits or whatever, or type of hearing. Or maybe I had in there trial on the merits, but I knew that that was the line where it's a type of hearing. Well, you don't want that. You know, you want type of hearing. So that you remember, oh yeah, it's, which type of hearing is that?
The properties of this field. Maybe I want to give it a different name or use a different variable so that the information I place in one field will be remembered in a similar field somewhere else. Maybe I want to use a different file that would offer a list of choices. Or if this field was on a billing page or a certificate page, perhaps I'd want to insert a formula that would calculate the number of pages in the document and perhaps the taxable cost. The choice to delete a form field is pretty self-explanatory, but what about job variables? If I press
Do you understand what it's telling you about if you just want to delete it or whatever? You know, you just put your cursor in there, highlight it or whatever, and then just do delete or D, which is in HyperKeys is just D. So it'll delete that field, okay?
here, it opens the dialog that stores the information that Eclipse is learning as I'm filling in the blanks. So if I perhaps made a mistake in spelling the witness's name, I could correct that spelling before it's used to fill in other blanks in the...
You understand what it's telling you there? So say you went in there and on the witness's name, you did John R. Smith. Well, you come to find out, after you did the first one, and you have maybe 4 more blanks, that it was John R. Smithson. So you need to go back and change it. And the job variables is what allows you to go back and change it. And then now it will remember every time you go back and change it. Okay, so you can go back in here, change it, push W, it'll bring up the prompt, and then it'll allow you to go through and change the name. Okay?
Transcript. For more information, check out the other visualizers that are devoted to form fields and the fill-in-the-blanks process.
Guys, look up that thing. Look up this thing when you go home tonight. Okay? Make sure that you go through it and just watch the other little tutorials that they have on there. There's some pretty neat stuff on there. So. Okay, so now they have a little exercise down here, you know, where, you know, they want you to fill in some stuff and you can go through. I mean, I'll kind of go through and do the first one or whatever, but I don't want to spend, you know, a ton of time or whatever. So, you know, if you're here, you're already in hyperkeys, because why? Yes.
And that's how you know you're in hyperkeys.
Yes. For those in the back that were sleeping. When the cursor is large like this, you know that you're in hyperkeys. How do you get in hyperkeys?
You press the
Alt-Z. Alt-Z gets you into hyperkeys. So you're already here. So, I mean, you want to fill in the form. How do you do it? E. E puts you in there. So now you're in the fill in the blank prompt right here. So, I mean, you put, you know, whatever you need to. You know, it's 2014 PA 00234. Okay? Press enter. Takes you to the next field already. So now you're ready to do it. Now you know that you're going to start filling in all of your blanks. If you didn't want to do that there, and you just wanted to fill in the cause number, how would you do that?
Go back and press
T. No.
T. T fills in just the one blank. Just the one blank. So if you just want to fill in that one blank, just the one blank only, go back there. But if you wanted to delete it, or you want to go back and modify it, you bring your prompt up here, do E again, it'll bring up the prompt. You know, and actually I'll do that and I'll kind of show you, you know, what we need to do. So if you bring it up here and you're like, you know what, oh, I messed up, it brings you back. So say it was 2014. You want to be careful right there, okay, for what I just did. And I'm going to show you again why. Say you messed up on the cause number, okay? All right? So you want to go back up there. You just bring it, you know, just above, you know, where it needs to be. You can even bring it right there. Push E, brings you back in there. Well, you know what? I want to delete the 4 right there. So I want it to read 2014 PA 00235. Bring your prompt here. Left click, backspace, 5, enter, boom. Okay? I'm going to show you why that's important, because if you come up here, you messed up, you press E, and you're like, oh man, I need that. I'm going to press delete. Delete deletes the whole thing. So you have to be careful. You have to make sure that your prompt is over here, and that's when you know it's ready to go. Okay? So now you have to go through, you know, and type in the whole thing again because you deleted the whole thing. Which is no big deal, but I mean, now you have to go through and spend a little more time because you didn't pay attention to make sure that the prompt was there. Okay? So it brings it down to the next prompt. You're ready to go. And you in the interest of, okay, well, you know what? I'm done right there. I want that line blank. You press enter, deletes the line. So if you don't put anything in there, it's going to delete the line. You see what I just did? Did y'all see that? So if you don't put anything in there and you just press OK and you leave it blank, it's gonna delete that line. Okay? So if you don't need any more, lines in there, just, okay, okay, that's all I want. Now it's going to bring up a list file. What do I want? Well, I'm in Bexar County. So once the list file is up, you can even add one. You can go through and let's add.
Tarrant County.
Here. There you go. So now it brings down, to the next one. So, if you're in different counties and you're going to different counties, then you want to, you want that as a form field. But if you're going to be working here all the time, it's going to be Bexar County, But, it could be different, especially if you're doing depositions, guys, because, you may have guys coming in from Houston. There's a lawsuit in Houston. Oil case, blah, 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 whatever. Well, there's a witness here. So the attorneys call, say, hey, you know what? We don't want to bring our reporter because we don't want to have to pay for our reporter, a per diem, fly down there or drive down there, and then an hourly while he or she is on the road or whatever, unless they have, some kind of understanding with the law firm that, hey, we'll go down there. We know that it's going to be an all-day trial. An all-day deposition. It's not going to be a 20-minute deposition, and you've made an agreement to go down there for free, until you get down there and start working, and then you take a 20-minute deposition and come back. Not very smart, but I guess you could if he's a really good client of yours and you just had nothing to do that day and you want to waste your day for a 20-minute deposition, then help yourself. But if not, most people are going to charge, for getting on the road or whatever. So, you can, whatever, but that's not the point. The point is, you may have some guys from, Tarrant County, coming in and they're going to take a deposition here in Bexar County. Well, you know what? We want to use a local reporter. But the case is styled in and it's been filed in Tarrant County. So when they give you the pleadings, they're going to give you the sheet with the pleadings of, who the deposition is taken of. So it's going to have all the information, the cause number, style of the case, that it's in Tarrant County, in the interest of, or Schlumberger, oil company versus blah, 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 whatever. So, they're going to give you, something that has everything in it, the court that it's filed in, all of that stuff. So then you're going to have to go through there and change it. So if you have it like this, and it's in Bexar County because, you do 99% of your stuff in Bexar County, then you're going to have to go through and change it manually because it's not a fill-in field anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes? No? Okay. All right. So that's how you do it. Any questions about that? Okay, and here they're just talking about word wrapping or whatever with the tilde to make sure that it goes on the same line. Say you only have the one line. You go through and let's try it. Fill in the following field. It is a long paragraph, not 3 separate lines for name, address, and city. Since word wrapping will occur after you have finished filling in the blank, use the tilde, which is the shift plus the tilde, to keep related items together, i.e. address, name, city and state. Okay, so you're here. Let's see what we have. It needs to come down further. So it's going to be Why not do it? I'm gonna have to mess with that a little bit. Most of mine are like fill in blanks. I can't remember exactly, you know, how I did it, but it's supposed to separate it. I don't know why it's not doing it.
So, what's that?
Yeah, I'll have to mess with that a little
Maybe
bit.
because you're putting that little squiggly one instead of the other one.
Well, I mean, it's telling you that because you're supposed to. Let's see. But it can't be. I mean, that's what keeps it together, I believe. So we can try it, but.
Doesn't hurt to try.
Sorry at all. Is it time to turn off the machine yet?
Yeah, here in just a bit.
Didn't do it.
It's still not doing it.
I just wanted to call you. Sorry.
That was awesome. Who was that, Usher? Yeah, it's still not doing it. I don't know why it's not doing it. I have to mess with it a little bit, and then we'll talk about it next week. But I don't know why it's not doing it. Anyway, any questions on the form fields? Okay, I'm gonna turn it off here.